come to the tragedy of Macbeth. It's actually one of Shakespeare's shortest tragedies. We'll start with the executive plot summary. Macbeth is the Thane in Scotland who becomes greedy for power as a result of a prophecy that he will attain said power, commits regicide, betrays friends, becomes king, but is ultimately killed as a result of his actions. Now, the themes are listed below, but I propose to you that all of them, and indeed the entire play, can be understood as a discussion of the natural and the unnatural. And by unnatural, I mean something that is either against nature or is supernatural. Because of this is a play of atmosphere, of visions, of specters, and darkness. As an experiment, if you'll indulge me, I will tell you what happens, but I want you to see it for yourself. So please close your eyes. Concentrate and intentionally imagine every scene of this story as I describe it to you. 3 witches on a moor in the mist in Scotland. Fair is foul, and foul is fair. They determine to meet with Macbeth. Elsewhere, Duncan is informed of Macbeth's great victory over the rebellious Thane of Cawdor. Macbeth, disdaining fortune with his steel, which smoked with bloody execution. Duncan declares Macbeth the new Thane of Cawdor. Meanwhile, Macbeth and Banquo encounter the witches, and are told Macbeth shall be king, and Banquo shall beget kings. Macbeth returns to his wife and invites King Duncan to visit. Lady Macbeth resolves to disregard her femininity and push Macbeth to do whatever is necessary to become a king. She says, "Would that the milk of these breasts turn to gall, that I may accomplish this." When Duncan arrives, Macbeth and his wife begin to make plans for murder. Banquo attempts to speak with Macbeth of the witch's prophecy, but Macbeth acts indifferent, says, "I've given it no thought." Macbeth has a vision of a bloody dagger floating in the air, pointing at Duncan while they're at a meal with him. The night is filled with a supernatural horror: stars, lightning, thunder, rain. But Macbeth resolves to kill Duncan, which he does. He forgets to plant the knives on the chamberlain, so Lady Macbeth is forced to get her hands bloody too as she plants the evidence. When the murder is discovered by Duncan's sons and Macduff, Macbeth kills the chamberlains, supposedly enraged at their treachery. Duncan's sons flee in fear and suspicion is cast on them. Macbeth becomes king of Scotland. Macbeth begins to fear his old friend Banquo for the prophecy that his sons will be kings. He decides to have him killed. Lady Macbeth begins to descend into madness and despair. She cannot wipe the blood of the murderer from her hands. Out, damn spot. 2 murderers hired by Macbeth attempt to kill Banquo and Fleance, Banquo's son, but succeed only in killing Banquo. At a grand dinner party, Macbeth is haunted by Banquo's ghost, forcing Lady Macbeth to make excuses for him to the guests. Meanwhile, Macduff, the Thane of Fife, goes to England to join forces with Duncan's sons. The witches send a series of prophecies to Macbeth. One is to beware Macduff, the Thane of Fife. Second is that none born of a woman can kill Macbeth. Third, he is safe until Birnam Wood itself move to Dunsinane Hill. Macbeth sends assassins to kill Macduff's wife and children. Lady Macduff escapes. Young Macduff is killed. In England, Malcolm tests Macduff's loyalty and resolves to revenge on Macbeth. As Macbeth confidently prepares for his battle with Malcolm and Macduff, he learns that his queen, in her madness, has killed herself. The English soldiers cut down and use the trees of Birnam Wood for cover as they advance on Macbeth's castle, thus fulfilling the first part of the prophecy. Enraged, Macbeth resolves to fight openly, leaves the protection of his castle, and meets on the plains outside. He meets Macduff and warns him that he cannot be killed by a man born of a woman. Macduff reveals that he was cut from his mother unnaturally and kills Macbeth. Malcolm announces his intent to be king. Fair is foul, and foul is fair. The end.